Greetings again, my fellow godlies. My name is God, God of knowledge. I am the sum of all information, infinite and extraversal intellect to the millionth power. My transmissions to your world were halted and intercepted for quite some time due to a virus, or moreover, an entity of some sort. So who exactly or what exactly is this entity? Who is Exitium's surprise? The origin of this character within Exitium lore is just as much shrouded in mystery as it is outside within your physical world. A man by the name of Shane, who went by Skittles as his Xbox Live gamer tag over Xbox Live, first suggested the idea for this character. Back then, it was only a mere gesture with vague descriptions. It was by no means ominous or malevolent. It was intended as comedic relief for a main character stagnant and void of personality. You would come to know this character as Black Ice. While the idea of throwing a villain into the lore with a large range and depth to its personality was great, in contrast to an unmanned drone with virtually no personality, this idea was also rejected by fans. Various concepts of Black Ice would roll out over the years, supplying the fanatical eye with great imagery of this character. Meanwhile, Surprise was utterly neglected. In 2015 it was announced that Black Ice would no longer be a robot. Instead, the word itself, Black Ice, would represent the firmware used to pilot a plethora of chassis that Lacrosse Cellkit had built. It was also at this time that the concept for Surprise was revisited by one, James Beaudrio. As a fan of the insanely terrible band known as ICP, which is an acronym for Insane Clown Posse, James had proposed that Surprise be retconned as a supernatural being from a satanic event known as the Dark Carnival. The concept of the Dark Carnival was inspired by a dream Joseph Bruce had after the foundation of Insane Clown Posse, wherein spirits in a traveling carnival appeared to him. The group decided to incorporate this dream into their band's newly created persona. The spirits are each revealed in a series of albums called the Six Jokers cards. Each spirit relays a message through the use of a moral story. Subsequently, this idea was also rejected by Vance, but would later be revisited. Vance was disinterested in the idea of having anything ICP related to his carefully crafted universe, ergo, he opted for a better origin story. The concept of Surprise again went neglected for years without any visual representations. In mid-April 2019, Vance had an epiphany. What if all of the past suggested themes and ideas of Surprise were to come together and form an inherent amalgamation of stories? The core fundamental idea for Surprise was suggested to be the polar opposite of Black Ice. Ergo, this suggested form of Surprise was a computer virus, as Black Ice had been forever altered as a free internet provider for the inhabitants of Exitium. That in of itself raised the speculation that Surprise could perhaps be the username of a group of previous internet providers. Providers who were angry that they were no longer making a profit due to Black Ice providing free services. If Black Ice was no more than a simple computer program, Surprise would be the viral entity to be the Black Ice program's undoing. Finally, the dilemma was settled. Surprise would finally have its visual representation, and concept art surfaced. Vance even went so far as to incorporate Surprise as a MOA companion in his Warframe God Build series. But little did he know, this story was about to take a dark and unsettling turn for the worse. As recalled by Vance, strange things began happening around his home as he drew the first and second image for Surprise.
So I'm not gonna lie, when I was first initially making the concept for this character, I was pretty weirded out because I have surround sound speakers, and the chords, setting it up, can get a little messy from time to time, just because there's so many chords and the length to the chords. One of those speakers kept inexplicably falling off the desk during production and just dangling there until I attended to it. And it was a constant thing. I would hear footsteps and, doors crack and stuff like that. And those types of things you kind of debunk in your mind because you're like, it's an old house, it's a wooden house, it's a variety of things that could be going on. But I digress. It was just a constant, and it's almost similar to the production of The Exorcist. If you ever seen any behind-the-scenes information about that movie, it was almost like this presence was just making itself known. The strange happenings kept occurring, and never mind the fact that it's based off of a character from the Dark Carnival. This character wasn't mine, much like a mythological god. This character it just comes from a very demonic and satanic background, and I'm wondering if it was just something that it was making its presence known, that it maybe agreed with me designing the concept for it.
In the months to follow, Vance would be absent from YouTube due to a string of very bad luck and unfortunate events. Despite this, he would manage to upload videos from time to time. All of these videos at some point in the duration were interrupted by a ghastly transmission. The mysterious figure would speak with an inaudible tongue through the interference. Its only clear message was that you, the viewer, were already in hell. It would conclude its transmission every time with a very disturbing string of images. It would appear as if this concept had taken a life of its own. The bizarre paranormal happenings continued, and so too did the transmissions. Though they have been halted for now, I as the God of knowledge can discern no information from this entity. Like a VHS tape with no tracking tape, Surprise has left no digital footprint whatsoever. This, as some would know, is theoretically impossible. The traces of Surprise's presence virtually vanishing the moment in which they had appeared is very alarming. In a canonical sense, Surprise had failed to do what it had initially set out to do. Black Ice is still operational, and although scarred, residents both on and off the pages of Exitium remain unaffected. Its glitching upon millions of cells, tablets, monitors, and TV screens across the globe has left a very haunting impression, however. With its impression, it also leaves lasting unanswered questions. Rather than ask, what is it? Perhaps we should be asking, why is it? Why is it still to this day used as a firmware to pilot Starcom unmanned drones, and could this explain their psychopathic killing instincts? Why is it still so unclear whether or not it is a person or a virus? Why is there no one certain conceptual creator outside of Exitium? And here lies the most horrifying question of them all, why is it still popping up on your screen when you least expect it? Laughing maniacally in the dark beyond in the furthest reaches of your mind, imagination, and consciousness. If no one knows who created Surprise, both on and off the pages of Exitium, it begs the curiosity of those who dare to wonder. Is Surprise a primordial malevolent god from the abyss? Dare I even say,
the devil himself?